Welcome to part 2 of our transformative journey. And hey, before we dive in, make sure you've watched the part 1. If you haven't seen it yet, don't worry. I've put the link to part 1 right in the description below. In part 1, we explored how your brain can be completely rebuilt, discovered the power of unlearning, mastered time as a tool for growth, optimized your physical self, and learned to harness your emotions as sophisticated messages from your nervous system. Now that you've developed your emotional intelligence, let me share something that's fundamentally changed how I approach choices that shape my future, and I think it'll transform how you make decisions too. Let me put this in perspective. Every choice you make is essentially a brick in the building of your future. Your brain makes around 35,000 decisions every single day. What I've learned is that the quality of these decisions quite literally shapes everything in your life. Most people either fully trust their gut or they try to rely purely on logic. I've discovered that the best decisions actually come from combining both your analytical mind and your intuition. Think of it like having two incredibly powerful advisors, one that speaks in numbers and data, and another that speaks in feelings and hunches. The real skill is learning to listen to both. You see, your brain is naturally wired to avoid risk, and that made perfect sense for our ancestors. It kept them alive. Avoiding all risk is actually the riskiest choice you can make. I've learned that the key isn't just seeing what could go wrong. It's about accurately measuring the cost of not taking action. You know what I notice when people make mistakes? Most folks rush to either fix the problem or blame themselves. But let me share a different approach I've developed. Treat each setback like a scientist would. Ask yourself these specific questions. What exactly happened? What assumptions did I make? What information did I miss? When you do this, every failure becomes an upgrade to your decision-making software. Here's something interesting about future planning that most people don't realize. Your brain can actually get better at predicting outcomes, but only if you practice it intentionally. Here's the technique that I use before making any important decision. I play out 3 different scenarios: best case, worst case, and most likely case. This literally trains your mind to see around corners and spot opportunities others miss. Think of it like a supercomputer that processes decades of experience in microseconds. But here's the thing. Just like any computer, it needs clean data to work properly. Through my own journey, I've discovered that the more you expose yourself to new experiences, the more data your intuition has to work with. The more you reflect on your choices, the sharper your gut instincts become. This isn't some mysterious process. It's what I call mental training at its highest level. Chapter 1, Learning and Skill Acquisition. Your ability to learn effectively is truly the ultimate competitive advantage. In a world that's changing faster every day, how you learn actually becomes more valuable than what you already know. Most people try to master one skill at a time. The real power comes from what I call skill stacking. Instead of trying to be the best at just one thing, focus on becoming good at a unique combination of things. Think about it this way. There are millions of writers out there and millions of coders. But how many people do you know who can both write compelling content and code effectively? That's how you become truly irreplaceable. Your brain actually has what I call an operating system for learning. Let me break this down. First, you grasp the basic concept. Then you observe how it works in practice. Next, you try it yourself. And finally, you teach it to someone else. Most people skip those last 2 steps, and that's exactly why they forget about 90% of what they learn within a week. It's not actually about the time you spend practicing. It's about the number of quality feedback loops you create. Think about an expert pianist. They don't just mindlessly play for 10,000 hours. Instead, they play, analyze their mistakes, make adjustments, and improve with each practice session. You can apply the same principle to any skill you want to master. Knowledge isn't power by itself. Applied knowledge is power. Your brain needs to transform information into wisdom through actual practice. Reading about swimming won't make you a swimmer. You need to get in the water, feel the resistance, adjust your movements. Every skill works exactly the same way. Theory must meet practice. Think of your mind like a toolbox filled with mental models. Each new way of thinking becomes a tool you can use to solve problems. Psychology helps you understand people's behaviors. Mathematics helps you recognize patterns. Biology helps you understand systems. The more mental models you collect, the more solutions you can create. This isn't just learning. It's what I call building your intelligence infrastructure. Chapter 2. Find your purpose. I spent years trying to find my purpose until I realized purpose isn't something you find, it's something you build. And about your career is that it's not just about making money. It's about creating the kind of value that makes you truly come alive. Most people start by asking, what job should I get? I've learned that's actually the wrong question to start with. The real question that transforms careers is, what problems do I want to solve? You see, every truly successful career begins when you become deeply valuable to others by solving their problems. Here's something about career paths. They're not straight lines. They're actually a series of experiments. Think about it this way. Each job, each project, each challenge you take on is giving you valuable data about what energizes you and what drains you. The key insight I've gained is learning to track these patterns. Pay attention to those moments when you lose track of time. Notice when work feels like play. These aren't just random feelings. They're actually powerful clues pointing toward your purpose. Allow me to highlight one of the most underrated aspects of career strategy. Your skills actually have different values in different markets. It's fascinating. A skill that might be worth $50,000 in one industry could be worth $150,000 in another. So the real trick isn't just about getting better at what you do. It's about finding where what you do creates the most value. Here's something about success. Impact isn't about reaching the most people. It's about creating the deepest, most meaningful value. I used to chase numbers, but now I understand that one person whose life you completely transform is worth more than 1,000 people you barely influence. It's time to stop counting followers and start measuring what really matters. Your legacy isn't what you leave behind. It's what lives on through others. Every person you mentor, every problem you solve, every system you improve creates ripples that continue long after you're gone. This isn't about being remembered. It's about creating positive change that keeps growing. You see, your career isn't just about the next paycheck. It's about the lasting mark you leave on the world. Chapter 3. LifeDesign Integration. Your life isn't just a collection of separate pieces. It's actually one integrated system. Think of it like an ecosystem. When you improve one area, it naturally influences all other areas. And similarly, when one area suffers, everything else feels that impact. Think about your daily routine like a living ecosystem. You see, your sleep quality directly affects your work performance. Then your work satisfaction impacts your relationships. And those relationships, they profoundly influence your health. I've noticed that most people try to fix individual problems in isolation. But what I want to show you is how to upgrade entire systems at once. Balance isn't actually about spending equal time on everything. It's about understanding which areas need your energy right now. Sometimes your career might need 80% of your focus. Other times, your health becomes the absolute priority. The real skill is learning to read these signals and adjust your energy distribution like a skilled DJ, mixing different tracks. Let me share about daily energy patterns that transformed how I structure my days. Fighting your natural rhythm is like swimming against a powerful current. Instead, I've learned to map my energy patterns carefully. Now I schedule my most demanding work during peak energy hours. I use those lower energy periods for routine tasks, and most importantly, I plan recovery time when my body signals it needs rest. This isn't just about managing time. It's what I call energy optimization. Here's an approach to life experiments. Want to test out a new habit? Try it for 30 days. Curious about a potential career pivot? Start with small experiments first. You see, I've learned that every major life change should begin as a small, low-risk experiment. This transforms those big, scary decisions into manageable steps. And this is about integration, making every activity serve multiple purposes. For example, I've learned to make my workout time double as learning time by listening to audiobooks. I turn my commute into relationship building through meaningful calls. This isn't about doing more things. It's about getting more value from everything you already do. When you master this kind of life design, every piece works together in perfect harmony. Chapter 4. The Integration. Your quantum leap forward. Everything we've explored comes together to create something truly extraordinary. You see, the real power isn't just in understanding each individual piece, it's in recognizing how they work together to create something far greater than the sum of their parts. I explain this using a fascinating parallel from quantum physics. In quantum physics, particles can exist in multiple states simultaneously, and they affect each other instantaneously across any distance. What's remarkable is that your personal transformation works in a very similar way. When you upgrade your mindset, your environment naturally begins to shift. When you change your environment, your decisions start improving automatically. Everything is deeply interconnected. Your growth isn't linear. It actually occurs in these sudden quantum leaps. Think of it like water heating up degree by degree until it suddenly transforms into steam. You'll build momentum gradually until you reach what I call a breakthrough point. Each small change you make isn't just adding up, it's actually multiplying your potential for transformation. When you truly align all areas of your life with your highest purpose, something almost magical starts happening. Opportunities begin appearing from the most unexpected places. People with exactly the resources you need suddenly show up at precisely the right moment. Doors open that you didn't even know existed. And while it might seem like magic, it's actually what happens when your entire life system operates in harmony. Here's a profound insight about consciousness. Your consciousness acts like a filter that determines which possibilities you can actually perceive. As you integrate these tools and perspectives we've discussed, you'll quite literally begin to see opportunities that were invisible to you before. Your brain starts connecting dots in completely new ways. Solutions appear in places where you used to see only problems. Let me bring all of this together in what I consider the ultimate integration. Every insight, every tool, every strategy we've explored comes together right now. You're not just changing individual habits or learning isolated skills. You're actually upgrading your entire operating system for life. This is how you make this year truly transformative. Not through force or struggle. I tried that path and it doesn't work. But through intelligent, integrated transformation. The future you've imagined isn't just possible. It becomes inevitable when you apply these principles as one unified system. And hey, if you like this video, don't forget to subscribe and hit that like button. Also, let me know your thoughts on what I just shared.